Hi, it's Bruce Braden again, reading again from my book, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams Correspondence, in a book entitled You Will Say I Am No Christian. Today we have a letter from Thomas Jefferson to John Adams, June 11th, 1812. You ask if there is any book that pretends to give any account of the traditions of the Indians, or how one can acquire an idea of them. Some scanty accounts of their traditions, but fuller of their customs and characters, are given us by most of the early travelers among them. These, you know, were mostly French. Lafitau among them, and Adair, an Englishman, have written on this subject. The former 2 volumes, the latter 1, all in 4/4. But unluckily, Lafitau had in his head a preconceived theory on the mythology, manners, institutions, and government of the ancient nations of Europe, Asia, and Africa, and seems to have entered on those of America only to fit them into the same frame and to draw from them a confirmation of his general theory. He keeps up a perpetual parallel in all those articles between the Indians of America and the ancients of the other quarters of the globe. He selects, therefore, all the facts and adopts all the falsehoods which favor this theory, and, very gravely, retails such absurdities as zeal for a theory could alone swallow. He was a man of much classical and scriptural reading, and has rendered his book not unentertaining. He resided 5 years among the northern Indians as a missionary, but collects his matter much more from the writings of others than from his own observation. Adair, too, had his kink. He believed all the Indians of America to be descended from the Jews. The same laws, usages, rites, and ceremonies, the same sacrifices, priests, prophets, fasts, and festivals, almost the same religion, and that they all spoke Hebrew. For, although he writes particularly of the southern Indians only, the Catawbas, Creeks, Cherokees, Chickasaws, and Choctaws, with whom alone he was personally acquainted, yet he generalizes whatever he found among them, and brings himself to believe that the 100 languages of America, differing fundamentally every one from every other, as much as Greek from Gothic, yet all have one common prototype. He was a trader, a man of learning, a self-taught Hebraist, a strong religionist, and of as sound mind as Don Quixote in whatever did not touch his religious chivalry. His book contains a great deal of real instruction on its subject, only requiring the reader to be constantly on his guard against the wonderful obliquities of his theory. The scope of your inquiry would scarcely, I suppose, take in the 3 folio volumes of Latin of Debris, and these facts and fable are mingled together, without regard to any favorite system. They are less suspicious, and therefore in their complexion more original and authentic than those of Lafitau and Adair. This is a work of great curiosity, extremely rare, so as never to be bought in Europe, but on the breaking up and selling of some ancient library. On one of these occasions, a bookseller procured me a copy, which, unless you have one, is probably the only one in America. You ask further if the Indians have any order of priesthood among them, like the Druids, bards, or minstrels of the Celtic nations. Adair alone determined to see what he wished to see in every object, metamorphoses their conjurers into orders of priests, and describes their sorceries as if they were the great religious ceremonies of other nations. Lafitau called them by their proper names: jongleurs, devils, sortileges, debris prestidigitaries,